see that starts recording. Are you all right with it just there? Are you okay with it? Yeah, I know. It's only an iPhone, it's fine. There we are. Right. Cool. Excellent. So welcome, everybody. It's lovely to see so many faces. Thank you so much for those people who are joining me newly and those people who are coming along. So it's brilliant. It's really nice. Spread the word about Thursday, because I've not got any more people in class on a Thursday now, unless you want to double up, that's fine. We're going to work through just a flow today with some core, and I want us to think, I'm just getting the music volume right. I want us to think about engaging our muscles and that alignment again. So that balance, so making sure that we're aligned, so there's that kind of central alignment, so that we're not heavier on one side to the other. So we're going to start at the top of the mat because it's quite cold in here tonight. And I think we'll just start with some warming up. Are you okay there, Mari? You okay? Brilliant. Next to Joe, you've got perfect. So just to start with, we're going to find our balance. We're going to find, and we did some balance on Thursday as well. We're going to find that equal part balance between our feet. So you can pull the toes up and root down so that you can really ground the feet. Feel the heels, the toes, the sides of the feet, and then allow the shoulders to relax. And just take a moment here in Tadasana. And then just start, even if you softly close your eyes right at the beginning for a moment, just start to connect with that inhale and the exhale. Inhaling, expanding, and on the exhaling, just drawing the core very slightly in. So just practicing that breath, inhaling, and on the exhaling, just contracting the belly to the spine and slightly up. So you're kind of getting that, it's not a corset, it's a support. And we're doing that before we move into a pose. So I'll give you those inhale and exhales. Just one more time with your breath. And then on the next inhale, we're going to sweep the hands all the way to the sky, giving bounce into the legs. And we're going to bring our hands all the way behind us and then sweep them all the way back again. So we're just going to get some movement all the way down to mountain. Inhale, lift. Exhale, push the breath out, engage the core. Inhale all the way back. So starting to move. Shake the hands out, shake the feet out. If you've got water to hand, make sure you've got that to hand. Okay. See, I never get the music level right either. Inhale, lift. This time we're going to fold. So exhale, bend the knees, soften the core, and draw yourself into a fold. Head hanging. Arms sweep behind you, airplane arms. Inhale, flat back. Excellent. Bend the knees, lift all the way up. Inhale, all the way back up. And exhale, hands to center. Going to get the blood flowing. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Soften the knees, engage that core. Bring yourself into a forward fold. Hands can come to the mat. Sweep them to one side or to the other. You can bend the knees. You can roll the feet. You don't have to have straight legs in this. And then we're going to bring ourselves to airplane arms, flat back, inhaling. Exhale all the way, folding again. And then really slowly, we're going to root to rise. We're going to draw ourselves all the way up. Just allowing yourself to come back to standing. Draw the shoulders down, maybe shrug the shoulders up to the ears. And then take the thumbs, interlacing the thumbs, inhale, lift all the way through the front body. We're going to go to the left-hand side. You're in a semicircle, so my left is my left. So you're in front of me, Lawrence, you're going opposite. Left all the way across. We go in that big circle. Inhale all the way up to center. Exhale all the way across. Inhale back to center. We're going to bring our hands down. We're going to just take our hands all the way down to the mat, leave the right foot at the top and step into a runner's lunge. Take a nice big stance here, and you can just give your kind of foot, you can take movements. So if you're joining my classes, I encourage you to move in the poses if you would like. And then we're going to place the hands, step to plank. Bring the knees if you need to support your plank. If not, push right back into those heels. Big inhale, big exhale, draw the core further in. Nice long gaze to the top of the mat. And vinyasa. So if you have chaturanga, please do. Or I'm going to show you a little knees down, elbows to the back of the mat, chin and the nose all the way into cobra, Bhujangasana, meeting in downward facing dog, or you take a child's pose. So I'm going to tuck the toes, push the hips back, and belly to the thigh, lift up into the air and walk into little downward facing dog. Brilliant. Excellent. Equal weight now. Think about that balance. Equal weight in the hands. Bend the knees if you need to. Please do. Most people will need to. And then bend the knees and look forward to the top of the mat. And we're going to hop all the way to the top of the mat like a springing cat. So we bring our feet to the top of the mat. Push through the feet, sweep all the way up, hands all the way up to the sky, and hands back to the heart. Opposite side. Going to bring the hands to the mat, step now your right foot back into runner's lunge. Take a moment here if you need. And again, another little vinyasa. So plant the hands firmly. Step back to plank, knees down if you need. Lovely long gaze. So that's it to the front of the mat. And your choice where we go with vinyasa. So you can come knees down, or you can bring yourself to chaturanga, flip the toes to up dog. It depends on your practice. And then don't hit the Vihita and come into downward facing dog. Excellent. So Gary, those hips up a little bit higher. So bend those knees. That's it. Brilliant. And then push away from your hands, Gary, so that that's it. Push right away. So you're pushing your chest towards your thighs. That's it. Perfect. Bend the knees, look forwards, hop to the top of the mat. Big sweep up all the way. Hands to the heart. Are we a bit warmer? A little bit warmer? I can feel I'm a bit warmer. A layer may come off. So we're just going to bring some balance into this sort of flow as well. So what I want you to think about doing is that core. So when we are just about to go into a balance, or I give you an exhale. So just see if you can tighten the core very slightly on that exhale. So we're going to inhale, right leg is going to come up. So we're going to inhale to one-legged standing mountain. Inhale. Now push through that standing foot. Lift up the body. Georgia just went 2 inches higher. We're going to step the right foot all the way back to a high lunge. Arms forwards. Really push into the back heel and push the body up by pushing into that front heel. Drop the back foot into Virabhadrasana. We're going to open to a warrior two. Excellent. In this warrior two, I want you to think about pushing the heels towards each other. So you can really feel the inner thighs start to engage. And what we're also going to do is, Ailey, we're going to just tuck that tailbone slightly in. So if you inhale and exhale in warrior two and grip the core slightly, your tailbone will tuck. That's it. Tailbone will tuck slightly. Flip the palms. We're going to push through that front foot. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink into warrior two. Knee over the ankle, not forwards. You should still be able to see your toes. Inhale, push to the sky. Really push through those feet. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, lift. Exhale, warrior two. Take a moment here. Turn, inhale, Virabhadrasana one, warrior one, to the front. And we're going to come all the way, frame the foot on the mat, pivot that back foot, plant the right hand, and either hand to the waist, or you can bring the hand up to the sky. What I want you to think about doing is twisting from the thoracic spine, the midline. So we're opening that shoulder. And then frame the foot. We're going to plant the back knee and come into a half monkey split. So just push away, so you are hip over knee, and then that left leg outstretched. You kind of come in, you sometimes have to shuggle. Okay, there's some verbs we use in class. Hoik is when your leg gets stuck, and shuggle is when you're not quite in the right place. So please do. I'm going to come forwards again and take a vinyasa. So you can always skip a vinyasa and go into a child's pose. So hold your planks, and no quick vinyasas in this class. So, Ingrid might get a forfeit for holding a plank for another minute. Okay, oh, there's just about to be forearms. So hold your plank, knees down if you need. Drop to forearms if you want to play. Knees can still come down to support this, so don't strain at any point. Push all the way back up to plank. If you're feeling really fit, you can come back down to forearm plank. Can you, Vicky? I'm on my second CrossFit session now. I thoroughly recommend it. All the way up. Keep your knees down if you need to. And then take a vinyasa of your choice. That might be knees down, push the hips back, bring the chest to the chin, to the nose, if you're kind of snaking through, which takes you into Bhujangasana. And that allows you to open the chest. Remember, we're opening the chest in Bhujangasana, push into the hands. And then Amanda's there already. We're going to lift up, bend, push the hips back, push the hips to the sky, and walk into downward facing dog. Take a breath here. So allow yourself to really root the hands, to push away, to push the sit bones high to the sky, bend the knees to just lift up a little bit more. And keep a little bend in the knees if you want. Relax the head. So your drishti is towards the knees. So relax your head and look through your knees. Anchor the right foot and lift the left to the sky. It doesn't have to be far. We're keeping equal balance in our left and our right hands. And this is where we're going to come onto the tiptoes of the right foot, draw the left knee into the core. So you're really trying to create space, and then step to the front of the mat. And that's where the hoiking comes in, Ian. It's a yoga verb. And then we're going to push through those feet. We're going to lift up to a high lunge with our arms just outstretched. Excellent. Have I just done the same side? Yes, that's okay. That's fine. We'll add that into the routine. That's fine. Don't worry. Inhale, lift, straighten that front leg. Exhale, all the way back to Virabhadrasana 2. That's all right. There's just a chance for a little vinyasa. So straight back into plank. You can take a vinyasa or you can hold your plank. Doesn't matter. You might just want to go from plank to downward facing dog, which is quite a nice little move. And then we're going to anchor the left foot to lift the right. Step that all the way up to the top of the mat. You see an opportunity to practice. And then if you push into your feet, so the heel and the whole of the foot in the front, that will give you that strength to rise up. You might just feel that your glutes engaging there. Open the other side to warrior 2. Firm feet. Now we're going to push the heels towards each other and engage the inner thigh. You might even feel the glutes go. And you can, yes, I can see Gary's face there. That's a good face. If you've been working out recently, you should feel that. Excellent. Push the shoulders just gently down. Pinkies slightly back. Let's engage the whole body in warrior 2.
We're going to push through that front foot, flip our hands, lift to the sky. Exhale, back to warrior two. Inhale, lift to the sky. Exhale, warrior two. Just one more for luck. Inhale, lift. I never do this side as much as the other. There we are. Exhale, down. Sweep to warrior one. Inhale, lift to warrior one. You can turn that back foot a little if you just need to, and come off that tightrope. So you'll see my right foot and left foot have got a little bit of space. We don't need to be heel to instep. We can give our hips space. Even sink a little deeper as long as you can see your toes. And then lift the upper body. Relax the shoulders gently. We're going to come forwards and frame the foot all the way back down. Pivot that back foot. You're in this runner's lunge now. Left hand to the mat. And then you can just gently open into an easy twist here. Hand can always come to the hip. So Jill, make sure that your hand isn't coming back on itself, so your wrist, so it's all in line with each other. Really keep those legs engaged, pushing into that front heel, the front foot. And then all the way, turn, step to plank, even up. And here, it's your choice. You can always at any point come to mountain climber, come to child's pose. I just gave that away, didn't I? Or you can take your right knee to your right elbow and kind of do a little side mountain climber, or you can take your knees in and just bring a little bit, or you can do this really slowly. You can hover, it's a killer. You can hover your right knee to your right elbow and back. Your left knee to your left elbow and back. Your choice. Come into child's pose to stretch out at any point. Allowing yourself. No one should feel any pain in yoga. It might feel like it's hard work, but if it starts to hurt, stop, please. Come down to the mat. Stretch hips to heels. You might even want to just bring the forearms down and bring your head down and just allow yourself a moment. Take a pause if you need water. And then just bring yourself up. Allow yourself just to come back to a hero pose. And right foot's going to come forwards. Bring your left hip now over that left knee and just we took a stretch on one side. So just take a stretch on the other. You can push the toes to the sky if you wish. But see if you can keep that hip. So sometimes we kind of go across to one side. So try and see if you can even yourself up so that you're actually feeling a little more central. That's it. Just take a rock forwards. Maybe step up to runner's lunge. And then step to the top of the mat. Bend the knees as much as you need. It really helps that lower back. Allow the head to dangle. Inhale, airplane arms, flat back. And then as we drop the knees, we bring the hands on a lovely big sweep. And hands to the heart. Take a moment here, just pausing. We're going to play with some revolved poses. So I've been speaking to my class and classes just over and over about this. So when we are twisting, in our revolve poses. So that's when maybe we come into a revolve pose, okay? What I want people to think about, and I'm going to sound like a broken record by the end of this month, is that we're not twisting here in our lower back. We're twisting in the mid of the thoracic spine. So if you bring your hands just now, just together, so you'll feel a very subtle difference. So if you gently, not good, gently twist at the waist, you'll feel a twist at the waist, okay? But your upper body just seems to be quite passive. It's just moving. Now, I want you to think about moving and twisting from the point, which is just where the ladies have their bra strap. There we are. And that will help you. You'll feel a different twist. You should do. So it's easier. Is anybody not, I don't want to pick on anybody, is anybody not feeling the difference between the waist and the spine? I'm not sure. You are. Is that a thumbs up from folk? You are, good. Okay, excellent. Ian, are you? Yeah, excellent. So we're going to bring that into our chair pose. It means that you're not going to twist as far as you would think you're going to twist. Okay, don't try and break your spine. All right, so we're going to come to the front of the mat. You choose whether you want your feet together and add in more balance, or whether you want a little bit of support by just bringing them a bit further apart. That's brilliant. And we're going to sweep the hands to the sky. And we're going to exhale, sinking into Utkatasana. Now, really drop yourself into this, into the seat. Lovely, Joe. And then open up the arms slightly. I want you to inhale and tuck the core in. You might feel, you might feel your tailbone. Ailey, I saw that. Your tailbone suddenly tucks in. That's where we want to be, because we want to be protecting our lower back. We're going to hold you here. And then bring hands. Don't come out of it, but bring hands. We're going to inhale. We're going to go to our right hand side. And we're going to see if we can move from that thoracic spine into a revolved chair. Hold it back. All the way back to center. Keep the legs where they are. Maybe sink a little deeper. Inhale and exhale. Core comes back in. Feel the tailbone tuck. Inhale. Opposite side. Rotate. Revolve slightly. Inhale back to center. Bring the hands gently behind us and then sweep all the way up. Maybe feel that in the legs, all the way back down. If you need to, give yourself a shake. So you can always shake, shake, shake. You can move. It's nice to shake the day away. And we're going to bring that now into just a little routine. So yes, keep the water, because I must be on one today. Got far too, I've been sat down. It's the problem, isn't it? Get me on a day of being running around. Or maybe not, Amanda. We did 7.5 miles the other night. Yeah. I looked at my watch, and because I said, I can't have done that much, because we went out for a walk, dog walk. I got back in the dark. We went for a proper stomp. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hands to the heart. Sweep the hands forwards and sink into chair. Hold that chair. Inhale and exhale, bringing that tailbone tucked in. Open the arms a little. We're going to push up. So we're going to come to one-legged mountain. So leave your left foot stand on the mat and bring your right foot knee towards the chest. As we're going to push the hands forwards, we're going to push through the heel. It's hard one. Depends on your hip flexors as well. Inhale back to the sky. Sink back down to chair. Hands to the heart. Inhale, revolve to the right. And then step the left foot back. Might mean that you can hook the left elbow with the right knee. But if you can't, don't worry, keep it up. So keep upright. You might even here come into a revolved side angle pose. You might not. If it's really tricky being here, then don't do this. But you might find that you can bring your hand to the outside. You may not. And if you've got lower back issues and you haven't revolved at the thoracic spine, you might hurt a little. So please don't if you're not comfy. All the way back, hands to the heart. Take a vinyasa. Hold the plank. It's not a fast vinyasa. Slow is deadly. If you want to, sorry, Katrina, that was my scary voice. Right knee to right elbow and hold. Back. Left knee to left elbow. Hold. Gary's making faces. Be easy on yourself if it hurts. And then your choice for the vinyasa might be knees down and then a little kind of cobra scoop to the front, pushing through the hands. And then bending into downward facing dog. Is that my phone? Oh, don't worry, Georgia. That's okay. Don't worry. And then all the way to downward facing dog. No, it's just because I thought I'd switched mine on to do not disturb. Someone told me once that downward dog was a resting pose, and I didn't believe them. It isn't. It's an inversion, but you can get rest with the breath in downward facing dog. We're going to come to the top of the mat again. So you've got choices. You can step, or you can bend the knees and you can take a little hop into a forward fold. Sweep the hands, inhale, flat back, just a variation of flat back. And then all the way, inhale, lift to the sky. Hands to the heart. Take a moment here, mountain. We're going to sweep all the way up, hands. And now this time, the left leg is going to come up. I'm going to wobble because I'm on my bad ankle, Lawrence. That's going to make you wobble. And then we're going to push that left foot out. All the way back to the sky. We're going to sink down now, hands to the heart. We're going to sink into chair. Sweep the hands. Inhale and exhale, tuck the tailbone in, that's it. So with the chair pose, it's often quite nice to have the hips in line with the knees, in line with the toes. That's one way of doing it. You can also put a block in between your knees, and that then brings the inner thighs into this as well. Hands are going to come to the heart. We're going to come to revolve pose the other side. So to do that, we inhale. Thoracic spine, think twist in the middle. And come all the way back to center on an inhale. And then back we go, exhaling. This time we step the right leg back. So just watch your balance. You may be revolved enough to catch the right elbow on the back of the left knee, you may not. If you have and it was easy, you may want to come into a revolve pose, which we don't normally do, revolve side angle. Push into the heel to keep you steady. And then turn to the mat and step to plank. We're going to come down to a child's pose. What I want you to do is come via forearms. Maybe this time, forearms parallel to each other. Knees down if you need to, just to support yourself. Really push into the forearms here. And then we're going to drop the whole of the body all the way down to the mat into Sphinx pose. Walk the hands out if you need space on your lower back. Your lower back should not pinch. So you can even take yourself lower by bringing the elbows out. And then walk your feet away from you. So that nice long line behind you. So the gaze could be down. It could be up. Depends where you feel comfy. What I want you to do wherever you are is push into the forearms, push into the front of the pelvis. So this doesn't become kind of a pose that we're just gently sinking into. This becomes something we're activating. So we're opening our chest by pushing into our forearms. Sweep the hands behind you. You can either keep your palms facing up, or you might want to interlace fingers so that you're just drawing the shoulder blades down. You might just stay here with the chin gently tucked. You might want to just open the front body slightly, just looking towards the mat so we're not extending too much. You might want to just raise the heels slightly if you're not stuck with a heater, which I've just done. That's cracking. I've got warm toes anyway. You might feel it comfier to bend the feet. You could even reach, as long as the knees are not splaying out, just gently reach to the toes. And then just release and relax, push back to a child's pose. Just allow yourself a stretch in child's pose. And take your time here. So you might want to take the hands across to one side or wherever's comfy. If there's movement. There's some lovely variations going on in the room. We've got a tricep child's pose where you're bringing the hands towards the back and just walking the elbows or stretching the arms out. Just taking a moment with the breath. And then gently bringing yourself, so your hands are just gently on your thighs and you come to upright. And if you've got water, just take a moment. We're going to come down to the mat. So it's a good time just to have a quick sip of water if you have, or just adjust. And if you're just here, you can just take lovely stretch for the neck is taking right hand behind you and taking the left kind of ear down towards the shoulder or the chin towards the collarbone. Gives you a bit more of a stretch just in that shoulder there. You can do the same just on the other side. It's a nice little one that you can do at the desk. It's really quite effective. Maybe you want to take the hands forward, stretch through the top body. Maybe interlace the fingers and gently push away. And then gently release. We're going to come to our back. So what we're going to do, if you want to watch this first before you go down, that's absolutely fine. We're going to come down to our backs. And if you're new, or returning, so I'm keeping my back lowered so that my whole spine is supported by the mat. There's no arch of the lower back. That's really important. So the back is on the mat. When I bring my knees towards me, then I know that my back's not going to lift at that point, but you might have to have your knees just further towards you. Okay, it just depends on your core strength and your body shape. So what we're going to do, we're going to press in hands to the knees, and then we're going to do opposites, and this is where I'm going to fail completely. So keep the hand pressing into the knee, and then this is just definitely not going to work because I've got a heater in the way. Sorry, I'm trying to right, okay, can I do this? And all we're going to do is we're going to take left and right, and we're going to come back and press. Now, there is a way that you could actually, if you've got a block, you can play with this. You can keep the same side and swap blocks, okay? So you can play with this, or we can just play with the dead bug, which is opposites. and press. Engage the core. Opposites, press, engage the core. Have a play with it, okay? So give yourself time when you come back to press into the knees and feel the body activate. So find that place where you are flush with the mat with your back. And then play with it. So press, you can feel things activate. Opposites, hover all the way back. Give it a press, activate, hover. Gently back and forwards. If you're wondering what to do with your breath, when you you can add something else into the mix. Your exhale is when you are fully extended. And that supports the movement of your leg and your arm away from you. So you can really be conscious about that movement. Bring the knees into the chest at any time. And just take a little knees to chest and a little rock if you need to. And then when you've just done that, we're going to bring the feet down to the mat into a bridge. So the feet are going to be in line with our hips. You can walk them towards you a little if you need. Keep the hips from going out the way. So keep them in line. The knees, sorry. Keep them in line with the hips. Place the hands on the mat and then lift the hips to the sky. Push through the glutes, engage the glutes. Keep space between the chin and the chest. So opening the chest. And now we're going to activate the arms. You're going to push into the back of the arms and feel the arms really engage with the mat. Push into the feet. Push the hips a little higher. Keep breathing. So if you stop breathing when you're in a yoga pose, then it means you might need to ease off a bit. And breathe, please. And then all the way down to the mat. Take the feet as wide as the yoga mat and just allow the knees just to gently go back and forwards. Just a little supine twist, maybe pausing. And then we're going to just bring our feet, stretch them out all the way to the end of the mat. If your shoulders are comfy with it, stretch the arms above the head and take one long big stretch, but don't overstretch. Just allow that feeling of length. You might want to walk the feet to the left-hand side and the top of the body. So we come into a banana shape. So you can take, if you're on the left-hand side of the mat, your left hand is on the outside. It can just connect with the right wrist. And you get a stretch all the way down the side of the body. Walking the opposite way, you can do the opposites. You can take a banana stretch the other side. Bananasana. Not obviously the original Sanskrit. That's my one yoga joke every after the evening. And then just allow yourself to relax the arms, maybe just on the belly. Maybe bend the knees so that the back comes flush. Maybe bring the knees together and walk the feet out. So you come to this like constructive rest pose. So the feet can go as wide as the yoga mat. And just take a deep breath here. And then allow the breath to settle. Just observing how you feel. Just allowing the breath just to melt to a natural breath. And then when you're ready, just turning onto your side, just to allow yourself to roll yourself gently all the way back up to seated. And when you're back and seated, you come to the position that you're comfy in. If that's cross legs, that's fine. If it's legs outstretched, that's fine. Butterfly is a nice one. And just allow the shoulders just to soften, the spine just to lengthen. Just taking a breath here. Bring the hands together just at the heart, Anjula Mudra. Feel that connection. Inhaling, exhaling. And thank you so much for joining class tonight. And it's just so nice to see everybody. It's so exciting to have full rooms and things and cars we can drive with people. And I'm just like, yay. So thank you. And it's lovely to see folk online. So one thing I've learned is that we're always online. Bye, Katrina. So if you can never attend a class and you're running late, then just hop onto the Zoom code. And if you paid for an in-person class, what I'm just saying at the moment is, you want to join any of the other classes online, so it's a Thursday Hatter, just pop onto the same Zoom code and join online. I'll be live 5 minutes before. So there we are. So nice. And just spread the word about Thursday class, because it's looking like it's really quiet. I know. I know, it doesn't matter, but it's just, yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You can use the code. My class is the only class, Jill, that I don't do online is my Tuesday private classes in Kabuki. It's on the booking form, at the top of the booking form. You can always go into the booking link, or I'll ping it to you. It's all right. I always send it. It's really quick. I'll just send it to you, Jill. Hi, Laura. Out you go, Laura. No, out you go. We don't have people with tans in here. We don't have people with tans in here. It's lovely to see you. I'll let you. Hiya, Helen. I'm Tanya. Hi. Hello. Nice to meet you. So there's a bit of a changeover. Some people are staying, some people are going. So there we are. There's a space there, Helen. Oh, just next to Amanda. She's pro, so she'll keep you company. Helen, Amanda.
I can tell you've been working hard.
Yeah, good. I'm working on my power stuff, so yeah. Good. Yeah, thank you. Oh. Right. I'm just going to leave this running. So we've got Yin, swap to Yin. Right. It's nice to see you both. Bye. Take care.
Email, but I went and lost it, but I'll look again.
Do you need me to send it again?
If I do, I'll give you a shout.
Or just WhatsApp me and I'll just send you the booking link. It's fine. But yeah, that's a good. So you're booking again, Andy, so I'll look out for it. You're booking for February. That's yes. And remember that, in fact, yeah. Yeah, I owe you one. So yeah. Right. It's the weirdest of transitions for me, going from power to teaching Yin. Right. I just find my Yin Yoga. Sorry, that's I've been bang. Yeah. Right, I think this is my Yin one. Excellent. Let's see if I've got anyone online. I'll just pop my other camera on so I've got grid. Okay. Hi, Rachel. It's nice to see you. Just getting sorted. I'm just running a couple of minutes, so. Right. Were you okay? Was that good?
Yeah, that was great.
Excellent. 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 So I'll see you next week. That's fine. It's fine. You're always welcome to do the yin class after. It's very, very slow, but it's a different one. So I put lots of options. So
Great.
shout.
Thank you so much.
It's all right. It was nice to meet you. Bye, Ian. Bye.
Right.
Would you like a blanket? Yes. Right, it's just, I've literally grabbed it from the back of the car. We do, but also we use them as props still. You're not allergic to dogs, are you? Just in case there's a dog hair on it. You're fine. That's okay. I haven't used it. It's just in the back of the car. So take blocks because I don't need them. And that will give you some props.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Right. Welcome, everybody. Oh, yes. Thank you. That's okay. Oh, yes. That's okay. That's fine. I think I've got a camera looking back at a camera. That's what it is. That's fine. Yeah, that's okay. I'll switch my camera off because we've got Rachel online. That will give us me. Okay. I'm just going to close that door. So welcome. Laura, we're just waiting for Laura. Okay. Great. It's nice to see you, Ingrid. Getting there. Work's not been. Long story for a gin in the pub. So we'll just wait. Okay. Welcome, Laura. It's lovely to see you. Now we can wait for the lady who's been traveling the world. There we are. Bit of a shock with the weather here, but anyway. Right, so welcome Rachel at home. So I'm just going to bring the volume down a bit. So we're going to start off in a seated pose tonight. Now, one of the poses that we can do if it's comfortable on knees is a hero pose. But if it's not comfy for you, then you can come to just a seated pose. So I'm going to show both. So I'm always going to sit up on something. So if you've got a blanket, Helen, as well, to fold the blanket so that you've got a nice big thick deep edge, or cushion, perfect. And Jill, you can use that blanket, and it just brings, well, maybe we'll start off in seated, and it just brings the hips gently up. That allows us, and if it's not comfy cross-legged, you can bring legs out, or you can bring legs to butterfly, so you can bring soles together. So wherever you're comfy. And Yin Yoga is definitely, when it gets this cold, a socks on. So I'm just going to pop my socks on just for the moment. You can always take them off if you want, because we cool down. So if you've got layers, just keep warm. And we're just going to come here and just connect with the breath. So allow yourself just a little bit of a pause. And I'm sharing tonight from Norman Blair's book, he's an expert in Yin Yoga, and I just thought with 4 things that he had brought to his Yin practice, and I thought I would share them with you, because the more that you understand your practice, the more effective it's going to be for you. So we're just going to take a moment, maybe soften the eyes, and just allow yourself to connect with the inhale and the exhale. And we're going to really focus tonight on our body and our breath. And he brings the 4 things, the 4 R's into the Yin practice. He brings responsibility. So taking responsibility for what we're doing and allowing ourselves to kind of just to look after our own body. So that's our responsibility. Resistance. So if you're finding something that you're resisting in yoga, then to move away from that edge a little bit, review, keep your attention on what you're doing. Yin yoga shouldn't hurt. It might feel stretchy, but it shouldn't hurt. And reflect. So when you're coming out of a posture, do that really softly. Think about how you're feeling. And just from this seated position, we're going to come to hero's pose. Now, hero's is an interesting one. Some people love it. And this is the problem with the yoga stuff. Some people love the poses. Some people think they're a bit like Marmite. So if it's really not for you and you don't feel comfortable doing it, then just change it. So in hero pose, if I wasn't using a bolster, I'd watch my knees, but I would come in and I would sit just back on my legs, okay? And I can hang here for a bit, but that's often quite a lot of pressure on the knees. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a cushion and I'm just going to soften it a bit. So I'm just sitting on something and I'm allowing that spine to grow tall. So if you have something that is you can sit on, maybe a cushion, maybe a blanket, and just allow yourself to come in a hero because the bolster's wider, my knees are not together. You can also soften it by actually, if you've got a blanket, popping the blanket, this is obviously going to be too big, but it's actually quite comfy, and popping the blanket behind the knees. So you're creating space for the knee joint. To go a little further, if you had a tiny little rolled towel, you could put it underneath the space on the ankles. So when we bring props to yoga, you start to learn what you like to bring to class. And this brings us to a little hero pose. And this is where we can work with the spine. So we can just allow the spine just to become gently upright and relax the shoulders. Just take a moment here with the inhale and exhale. And we're going to take our right arm just behind our back. We touched on this earlier in class. What we're going to do, we're going to take a little neck stretch. So really gently, you're going to move the chin towards the left collarbone. And you might get a stretch just through, just allowing a little stretch here. And remember, you can move just a little if you need. And when we come out of poses in Yin, we just do it with ease. So just gently drawing the arm back. coming back to that center and allowing us to come to the other side. If it's not comfy on the knees, then you'll know you might need to come to seated. And then come to the other side, so left hand behind the back. And just allow that stretch through the back of the neck. All the way back to center. Bring the shoulders all the way up to the ears and just allow just a moment. You might want to move the neck, you might want to move the shoulders, and then bring the hands forward. So we're actually coming up. If you've got a blanket, again, you can use this to pop across your mat and allow to soften your knees so that your knees are now so allowing yourself space to get comfy in yin. And here, we're just gently going to place the hands underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips, and the gaze just gently down. And we're going to press away from the mat and just activate the arms. Maybe tuck the toes. And then we're just going to take some cat-cows here just to warm the spine. We're going to drop the belly, look forward, inhaling. Really slow. And then on the exhale, untuck the toes. And then allow the back just to gently rise. Arching the back like a cat, tucking the chin. Inhaling, we drop the belly. We look forwards like the cow mooing. And then rounding the spine, exhaling, just drawing yourself into cat. You might want to tuck toes to add a little ankle stretch in this. And then just back for the last time into that cow, dropping the belly, looking forward. All the way back to neutral spine. Again, if you've got a small pillow or a blanket, we're going to come to thread the needles. So I'm going to just use that to soften my shoulder. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to bring that arm out to the side. So right arm out to the side. We don't hold this pose for huge amounts of time, but I'm going to bring my shoulder towards the earth. That allows me, if I wish, to bring the top hand forwards. Or it might just support me. That's it, you okay there? Brilliant. And just breathe into the stretch. Remember that if you start to feel any kind of tingling or pinching, please move out of the pose. Just come into a child's pose or come to seated. You're going to gently push all the way back up. Swapping sides, you might want to just pop blanket to one side. Left hand side comes out. And then draw the left arm under. And everybody in every class is different shape, different torso length, different leg length. So where one person is in a yoga class, your next door neighbor may be in a totally different place. So you always do something that is comfy for you. So yin is very much a practice where there's invitations to, and there's not a should or a must. Okay, so it really is a practice about a posture that suits yourself. And then draw all the way back up. And we're going to come to a child's pose. So if you have tricky knees, you can pop blanket behind the knees. You can bring yourself to a bolster at the front or cushions to the belly. You can take the knees as wide, that's my ankle cracking, as wide, that's a good sound for me, as wide as the yoga mat, and bring yourself down. So what I want you to be is in a place where you can just center, but you can also ease. So that feeling of sinking, feeling of softening. And with your breath in child's pose, allow yourself to fill the whole of the torso, fill the body when you inhale. And then the breath goes to the sides, it goes front back, goes to the base of the spine. And then exhale that breath all the way out.
And when you exhale the breath out, you can actually push, visualize kind of exhaling the breath all the way to the base of the spine.
Just allow yourself to sink a little more. And then draw yourself really slowly back up from child's pose. We're going to use child's pose as like a pose in between our poses tonight. And just take a moment. So in the transition and yin poses, we just do this really slowly. We're actually going to come to a seated twist. So if you've got a blanket, so you can, and this is why you have to kind of get yourself into all your yin poses. How am I going to do? I'm actually going to sit in my bolster. So if you've got a bolster or a blanket, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to draw myself up and I'm going to just extend my legs long. Just for the moment, if you also have a little blanket, you can pop it under the back of your knees. So you can just take a nice dandasana, which is a yin dandasana. So we're going to start here. And what I want you to do is I want you to allow the legs to relax, to soften. Just allow the shoulders to gently soften. Taking a moment, just pausing. So in Hatha Yoga, Dandasana is about activating, and you can, if you want to, you can pull the toes towards you and feel that difference. So when we pull the toes, we activate the muscles in the back of the leg, or we allow the body to soften. And sometimes activating and softening is a nice play in yin. We don't always have to be holding the pose for 5 minutes. Can actually just, and actually there is a theory that if you are super flexible, that yin yoga, if you let things expand too much, that actually you let hips sink into things, you can actually hurt yourself. So there's a balance between allowing yourself to sink into a hip and it be good, as in to open and just have that tiny little bit of activation, if that makes sense. I'll show you in Winged Dragon when we do that. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the right leg over the left. And this time, we're going to go towards the knee. Now, you can keep this leg long, or if you want to, depending on what you feel, you can take the leg just into a twist behind you. So you kind of lift up and allow yourself into twist, but it might be comfier leg long. So if you've got your right leg over, we're going to take the right arm to the sky. And we're just going to move and just gently hug the knee. Okay, so this is just a gentle twist. If you are comfy in this twist, you can take this into a bind, but only if you feel. So you can take your right hand through the left hand side. And I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to do this tonight. I'm not going to be. I'm going to go in front. And you can take a little bind so you catch. Some people can go through the leg. That's not for me. Okay? But equally, this is just a gentle twist. And it could be leg out long. And just remember, if you were in the class earlier, I said, try not to twist at the waist. Try to twist. So Laura, what we were doing was when we come into these twists, often we then twist the waist. So what we've been doing is we've been working on the thoracic spine, where we're actually turning. If you put hands up, you can feel like a little robot twisting at the thoracic spine rather than the waist. So when we come into these twists, that's where we want to be twisting. And it allows us then to be more in a revolved position. Does that make sense, Helen? Kind of. Get there. There we are. And it means that we're not putting pressure on the lower back. So we're not twisting at the waist entirely. We've actually moved. Use the thoracic spine how we're supposed to. And this is just like the sage twist that we use in our hatha practice. And at any point, you can always come all the way back to center. And if you are coming back to center, you allow yourself just that lengthening in both legs, just to come back. And we pause before we come to the other side. So just taking a moment, maybe softening the legs. And then left leg comes over. And it might just be here, but that's comfy, that's great. We can still come into a twist here. It might be you bring the leg behind you. And then if it helps to bring both arms up to twist, I know it looks all odd for us, but it does help you find that place to gently kind of twist the pose. Yeah, so if you're using your thoracic spine, you're not putting any pressure on the sacroiliac joints and all the kind of the ilium crest and all of that at the base of the spine, which get quite mobile, especially as a female. So you're using your thoracic to open the chest, which opens the diaphragm. So anything that we do with our chest and our diaphragm is good for our thoracic spine. I don't study anatomy at all. I'm working with an osteo at the moment. And putting the two together has been incredibly interesting. And it's changed my practice just to understand that more. And then by opening the chest and the diaphragm, we're then helping us breathe and use the whole of our lungs. And then coming back to Dandasana, that opportunity for reflection. Just allowing yourself a moment. How do I feel? And I've chosen a few more of the active yin poses tonight. So we're going to come to a dragon. So this is one of the more, so yin poses are very quiet poses, but this is It's got a little bit more fire, and it was just to show the point about making sure that we're not slumping into things, that we're actually using yin to expand and to stretch, but not to hurt ourselves in the process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put something under my knee, because I'm going to bring, it doesn't matter what side you are, I'm going to bring, it's like a lunge position that we're coming to. So I'm just going to soften my knee. You can actually bring a bolster into this. You can soften your knee and lean on the bolster. So we're coming forwards like into this little low lunge dragon position. So I've got my hands together and I've got my foot just out to the outside. Now, in yin, we want to support ourselves in poses. So that's why I've just put this cushion into the thigh. And then we have lots of options here. Now you can roll onto the edge of that foot. Now the flopping and the kind of loosening into this is when we just sag and we just let ourselves go into that joint. And that, for some people, not all, that may cause discomfort over time. So there's that balance in yin of finding that point of, that's a stretch, but I'm not over egging it. Okay, so I'm not sagging into it. There's a little bit of activation that just helps. That's why we use props in yin as well. This is a fiery pose for yin. You can come down into this if you want to. You can bring forearms down, but again, your body might say no. You can keep this high. You can take the left hand to the left knee. And again, I'm using that twisting motion, not twisting up my waist. I'm opening. So shoulder blades going back. And then relax gently out of this. And we always come back to a rebound pose. So bring the knees together and sink back into a little stretch. You might soften the arms, naturally come to a child's pose, evening up one side to the other. Breathing into the body. Taking any movement you might need. That means if you want to come up, you can do. And then allowing yourself to come to the other side. So my right foot's going to come forwards into this lunge position. So we use this a lot in yoga. And softening the knee. Maybe a cushion in front or a rug, that's it. And allow yourself to come to a stretch to the other side. Now, where you go from here is very much up to yourself. You might keep this upright and work in the arms a little, and you can feel that stretch through the hip. Or you might take this so that you roll onto the edge of the foot or hand. And remember, when you twist and open, let's consciously twist and open. And breathe. It doesn't have to be deep Ujjayi yogic breath. It's just the breath, the inhale and the exhale. Gently all the way back. Just soften this. You might want to come down. If you did come to a stretch on the other side, you might want to just drop gently and take a little stretch. Or you might want to sink into child's pose, wherever you are. Coming back. Again, bringing that calming breath. So in Yin, the breath is a really good guide. It's a really good barometer of how we're feeling in the pose. So if you are holding that breath, then maybe you need to ease off a little. It's just very subtle. And unusually, tonight's practice, I'm going to bring you all the way up. And I'm going to use downward facing dog in the Yin practice tonight, but a soft downward facing dog. So if you have blocks, you can often use the 2 blocks. It's worth exploring this if you have 2 blocks. For your hands, you can bring your hands onto blocks. But we're going to come up into a downward facing dog, just from a stacked back position. Now, if you've got something under your knees constantly, just make sure you're not going to catch your toes. And we're going to really push into the hands. So we're going to just create that stable base. And then instead of just pushing the hips up, we're going to sink the chest and the belly towards the thighs. And as we do, we're just going to hover the knees. So a little hovering pose here. And then allow the hips just to gently push toward the sky. I want you to soften the knees, and I want you just to pad the feet gently and come to a place where the knees are bent and you've got plenty of space to lift the hips to the sky. If socks get in the way, then we won't be here for too long. But we're just allowing a little inversion into our practice tonight. And then allow your neck to relax. Looking between the knees, the gaze gently beyond. And as we inhale a breath, exhale, lifting the core, the belly in towards the spine. Inhaling and exhaling. And then very gently step your feet all the way to the center of the mat. And allow yourself to really bend the knees and allow the belly to come towards the thighs, but allow the head to hang. Now, if you've got blocks, you can bring the earth up to you, or you can just bring the bolster so that you're really connecting. Allow the back of the head to lengthen. If you wish, you're very welcome to straighten the legs, but only if it's comfy, and make sure the weight is brought over the feet. So if you feel any pressure on the lower back, bend the knees. And then you might wish to take hands to the elbows into a dangling pose. And then very gradually bring the hands gently to the mat, or the bolsters, or the blocks. And then soften the knees as you draw yourself all the way back to the mat, and we're going to just come to a little malasana. So we're going to step. So again, you can use blankets under the heels. If your heels are high, you can use a bolster, in fact, to like hover like a little frog. You can sit on a mat, you can sit on a block. So it's just, we're here for a little while. Just a little squat pose. If it's comfy on the knees, if it's not, then come down to seated. And if you can actually sit on a block kind of and prop you up as well if you've got lots of cushions. Because the whole point about yin is we're supporting the poses. So just allowing just a moment here. Just in malasana. And we're going to come all the way down to the mat. So we're just going to bring ourselves. And we're going to come to our bolster twist. Okay, so it sounds horrendous, but it's not. Some of you have done this before. So if you've got a cushion or some blankets, you place it to your left hand side, to your left hand hip. Now, if you've also wanting to prop the hips up slightly, you can use a little bit of padding underneath you. And we're going to come to what effectively is deer legs. So we're going to bring the bolster to our left, and we're going to just, that's it, come into little side kind of pose with the deer legs. So sometimes we sit like this naturally. Now, you always have choices. You can just gently walk yourself forwards here. Okay, if you're not so keen on the twist, you can walk yourself forwards, you can put cushions, you can bring, and you're in a traditional deer pose here. Okay, or what is sometimes really lovely, and you can stay here, is to come to a side twist. So what we do, we're just going to lift and lengthen. So we lift and lengthen our spine, allowing space. And on an exhale, turning gently, and you probably will be turning at the waist and your spine here, we're just allowing ourselves to come down to the bolster and allowing ourselves to sink into a rolled up blanket or a cushion or a pillow, so that you're coming to your side. And use your blankets, Helen, so that you can really support your head. So grab another jump on your blanket and just prop yourself up. Height, comfort, pretend you're having a snooze. That's it. And then just allow yourself here to feel supported. Allowing the breath. Maybe a conscious turning inward in this pose. So really it's making sure that you still feel that softness and still feel like you can sustain the pose, so that you stay reasonably still in the shapes without kind of too much agitation or too much discomfort. Just allowing that breath. There's a nice analogy that Norman Blair uses, is about the strings on.
I'm not sure I understand.
Goodness, you should be asleep. He uses analogy of the stringed instrument, so being like yin, so that if you kind of twist it too much and you tighten the strings, it's going to overstretch. But if you don't and you let it slacken, it's not going to do its job. So it's finding that right pitch literally in the middle. And then when you feel that you're ready and you want to move, you just gently support yourself to come out of the pose, walking the hands back towards you, maybe straightening the legs, coming into that Dandasana, that brings that center line back into this. If you've got a flask at all or juice or anything, feel free. You're cold, Gary, you okay? Oh, okay. So just if you are feeling that was too long for you, then come back to center a little quicker. So your bow was a little bit tight then, yeah. So yes, you can use that as an analogy for cello bow as well, can't you? Because you tighten it. And I've done that before and lost all the hair. My mom wasn't very happy. So just taking a moment to come to the other side. So bringing yourself into deer pose. And again, deer pose in itself is a wonderful pose here. And you can come forwards into this and take a little stretch into the hips. And you can bring this pose forwards, just allowing. But equally, the bolster pose. When we come into the bolster pose, we have to bring that length. So prop yourself up. You've seen you can use as many props as you want. Just allowing yourself to turn and walk yourself back down. Some people are comfy with your gaze the same side as the knee. Some people like to take a further twist and look away from the knee. So it really depends. Again, it comes back to that responsibility for you, how you're feeling. So each person has their own experience. So for everybody, each pose will have different sensations. And just allow yourself in this pose just to soften. And then just when you're ready, coming back to center. Maybe you wish to just unravel the legs and stretch the legs just into Dandasana. I'm going to be coming into a melting heart pose in a minute, so a bit like puppy dog pose in our hatha. So I've spoken about a lady before called Scaravelli, and she was the yoga teacher who used to do the back bends all the way until she was like 100. But she always used to say, you do the pose for the body, you don't do the pose for the glory of the pose. So you don't look like the Instagram yogis. You do it for what suits you, and that's really important. So she's an incredible lady. Wish I could do back bends like that, but anyway, probably end up in Regmore. So, so we're going to come to a heart pose, and you'll need for this blankets underneath you. Always keep the blanket on the yoga mats nice, keep it nice and warm for you. Puppy dog pose is when, I'm going to show you this pose, is when we come down, and in hatha yoga we will push and activate the chest towards the mat. In yin yoga, this is a little softer. So if you've got cushions to support or a blanket to support, it's just catching my chest. So we're still quite an active pose. You can take your hand across the way. That's not then going to cause any too overstretching of the shoulder. That allows you to catch the forehead on your forearm. What we're doing here, we're getting a nice stretch in the lower back. We are opening the chest. And as we come into this pose, it might take a little bit of shiggling around. Again, I've chosen quite active poses for this yin session. So when you're coming into this pose, think about broadening the chest. Think about broadening the back. Breathing into the chest. If you've got your hands outstretched and you feel any tingling whatsoever in your shoulders or your arms, what you can do is just bring one hand across. Some people will love having that stretch. Some people will not. You'll just bring the hands to the forehead. And then as we come out of this pose, we're going to sink onto our bellies, and you still might want that blanket. We're coming to this Egyptian lion pose, the Sphinx pose, but we're going to use a blanket on our chest or a cushion or something. So we're going to come all the way to our fronts, stretching out. And again, the yin version of Egyptian lion is a lot softer than the hatha version. So walk your feet back so you've got lots of space and they're in line with you. And then I've just popped the bolster under my arms, or just stacking on your chest or a cushion. And I just have that little extra support there. And that just allows me just to stretch the lower back a little bit. So I'm not feeling pinching. I'm feeling like there's a little bit of work going on, but it's not hurting. If it's hurting, drop the shoulders. You are dropping the shoulders by moving the elbows out the way, which brings you lower down. But as long as you're not compressing the spine and the back bend and hurting yourself. Just a little bit of a stretch of the lower back is sometimes quite nice. And Jill, you're absolutely right. Do exactly what your body feels is right. You can bring your feet into the equation as well. And you can have a nice little ankle wiggle. Do like a good ankle wiggle. So body tells you what to do in a pose. Your gaze might be down towards the mat, or it might be up. Doesn't matter. It's what's comfy for you. So feeling that activation, maybe in the lower back, maybe you're feeling kind of a lengthening through the front body. Everyone will feel things slightly differently. We've got a ghost, Gary. Oh. Oh. If you really enjoy this pose and you want to get more of a stretch in this pose, you can come to seal pose. You can take your hands to the outside of the yoga mat, but this is a bit more of a stretch for the back. And you can push yourself up. Not for me currently, but for some people it's a really wonderful stretch. So I'm going to come back down to Sphinx pose. But that can provide a huge amount of relief for some. Nice big stretch. And then really gently, we're all going to push our elbows just gently out, soften. And then gently walk the hands. Push yourself really gently into just a short child's pose, just allowing that stretch, that counter pose, just all the way, sinking back. And I'm going to use this as a transition all the way to come to constructive rest pose on my back. Now we're slowing down towards the end of class. So it's at this point I say, if you have layers, jumpers, put the layers on, because we start to slow even more. And it's not the warmest this time of year. Still a bit chilly. So, pardon? No, I'm actually fine, thank you. I'm going to come to seated, but I love seated. I could sit for ages rather than lie on my back. Always I like that. So we're going to come to constructive rest pose. So if you've got a blanket, you can lie on it, or if you want to put it over you, you can do this. And all we're going to do is come all the way gently down to the mat and allow the knees to come together. And it's a really good opportunity to really feel the alignment in your back on the mat. So really draw your back into the mat and then just allow the spine to do its thing. So with the knees supporting each other and the feet wide, we can allow the spine to come into that lovely kind of curved space. Allowing yourself to notice the breath. Just pausing. And we're going to slowly slide into Shavasana if you want to. Some people are perfectly comfy with their knees bent and their feet to the side of the mat. But in a Yin Shavasana, you stretch your legs, and if you want to, give yourself lots of support. You can pop a light pillow behind your head or a blanket under the back of your legs. And what this allows you to do is to just sink and let the body totally relax so that your whole body is comfy and supported. And if you're raising the legs, you can raise the head very, very slightly on a very thin pillow if you wanted, or blanket. And just allow a little bit more the knees to relax, the hips to relax. Or if Shavasana is not your thing, I always like to finish in the seated position. But and just come back to just reflecting on how you feel. And then allow yourself to feel the body just relaxing, easing, feeling heavy, feeling like it's melting or merging with your yoga mat. And if you're in a seated position, just finding that place where the spine is tall but comfy. Becoming aware of the body being supported. And then bring your attention to the breath. And on the inhale and the exhale, just feel the body just relaxing a little more. I want you to take a big, deep inhale. And then when you push the exhale, I want you to push it all the way to the base of the spine. So you're pushing the breath all the way down, as if there's like this space at the back of you, lower spine, where you're just pushing the breath into. And then allow the body and the breath just to become settled. Just to have a natural breath. Bringing maybe a little movement into the fingers. A little movement into the toes. And we're just going to start, and only when you're ready, just starting to just turn onto your side. And when you've paused here for a moment, that's when you just bring yourself gently back, when you're ready, back up to seated. So just start that slow transition all the way back up. Allowing yourself a moment and when you come to seated, just find that place where the spine just feels like it's supporting you. Often we just bring that spine just gently back a little bit. You maybe lean forward, so just open a little bit. And bring hands gently to the heart. And actually, we're just going to take a moment, we're just going to rub the palms of our hands together. I like this one. Just gently rub the hands together, create a little bit of heat in the palms of the hands. And then bring the heels of the hands gently to your eyes. And then the hands come gently back down together. Thank you so much for joining class tonight and let me practice with you. Thank you. It was so nice to see you. It was lovely to see you online, Rachel, as well. I'm going to just pop the recording off, so I'll let you float away. There you are. Pardon? That's all right. Oh, that's Rachel just saying thank you. I'm just going to stop record.